Hello and welcome. This is Pre-Uni New College. This video is intended to provide information about thinking skills and how to solve these questions through strategical steps. These logical explanations and solutions will be beneficial. However, please be advised it does not give all the answers or a shortcut to solve the thinking skills questions. Students must study consistently to achieve successful results. Let's begin the video. Welcome everyone to part 205 of Critical Thinking Strategy for Thinking Skills. In this video, we will be covering matching arguments. As mentioned in our previous video, there are 6 types of critical thinking questions. They are assessing the impact of additional evidence, detect reasoning errors, drawing a conclusion, identifying assumptions, matching arguments, and etc. We'll be covering matching arguments in this video. Let's have a look at what matching argument questions are. Matching argument questions are questions where similarities or connections between two statements or ideas are identified. The similarities and connections between the statements that are then identified form a structure or pattern of the argument that ultimately reaches a conclusion. These types of questions also require the use of logic in order to align and arrange multiple pieces of information in order for the argument to be true. If we break down each word of the question category, matching means to correspond in pattern, color, design, or statement. And arguments are a set of statements, and the purpose of the argument is to persuade the reader to agree with or believe in something. Matching arguments require students to organize multiple pieces of information that share arguments and therefore align to form a conclusion. Let's take a look at this example. There are a total of 3 people in Phoebe's group, including herself. One doesn't like math, another likes science, and another doesn't like English. Emma says, "I don't like dealing with numbers." Julia says, "I don't like reading literature." We will use these pieces of information and match it with the given statement to find a conclusion. Emma is the person that doesn't like math. Julia is the person who doesn't like English. Therefore, the conclusion is that Phoebe must be the person who likes science in her group. Let's look at how we would apply the tips to matching arguments type questions. The first step is to read the question and identify the question line. Typically, which one of the following statements must be true? The second step is to read the argument and identify the premises. The third step is to paraphrase the argument using your own words, however, only if necessary. The fourth step is to predict the answer. However, in these types of questions, it is best to go through the process of elimination rather than working it out. The last step is to eliminate wrong answers, which can be typically achieved through assuming one answer option is correct, then working backwards into the arguments to find any contradictions. Let's look at an example question from the Selective Schools Thinking Skills test. It says, "I am hiding in one of 3 rooms. On the door of each room, I have written 2 statements. Some true, some false. However, no more than one statement on each door is false. Room 1. My name is Aziz. I am not in this room. Room 2. I am not in this room. I am in room 3. And room 3. My name is Louisa. I am not in room 1. Which one of the following statements must be true? A. My name is Aziz. B. I'm in room 1. C. I'm in room 3. And D. My name is Louisa. This question falls into the matching arguments category, as the question asks us to determine which of the following statements must be true given the information. This is a matching arguments question because we also need to determine the truth value of the information correctly in order to appropriately answer the question. Let's use the general approach method to answer this question. The first step is to read the question and determine what it is asking. Since it is asking us which one of the following statements must be true, we are looking for an answer option that correctly fits the logic within the given arguments, presenting no contradictions and inconsistencies. Note the use of the word must, meaning that the conclusion of the answer options must have definitive evidence to prove so. The next step is to read the argument and identify the premises. The premise here is, however, no more than one statement on each door is false. Here we would have to follow the premise in order to determine which of the following statements can be concluded correctly. Think of this premise as like a rule. Next, paraphrase the argument if you need to understand the argument better. However, this question does not require paraphrasing as the premise set is clear. There isn't much text to go by, considering this tests more of your critical thinking in matching the arguments. The fourth step is to predict the answer. Predicting the answer in this case, however, is difficult as the question requires the exposure of answers. We need to use the process of elimination in order to solve for the answer. The final step is to eliminate wrong answers. Again, process of elimination in this case is best to solve this question. The premise states that, however, no more than one statement on each door is false. Therefore, if we work from the answer options to assume one statement is true, we can then work backwards to find out whether the argument matches or if it presents inconsistencies. Let's look at option A. Option A states that my name is Aziz. Looking at the statements written on the rooms, it is impossible to definitively conclude what names they have due to the lack of evidence. Their name could be Aziz or Louisa, but it is not definite due to there being only two cards that can be true or false. This also eliminates option D. Therefore, the best way to go about it is through what rooms they're in. Option B, which says I'm in room 1, states that they are in room 1. So let's assume this is true. Looking at room's 1 card, I am not in this room, is false as they are in room 1. Therefore, my name is Aziz has to be true as only 1 card is true. However, looking at room 3's cards, I am not in room 1 is false as they are in room 1. My name is Louisa also has to be false as their name has to be Aziz from room 1. This presents an inconsistency as both cards are false, but the premise stated otherwise. Therefore, option B is incorrect. If they were in room 2, this means that both of the cards in room 2 would be false, going against the set premise. Therefore, they have to be hiding in room 3, leaving option C as the answer by process of elimination. The scenario of room 3 is presented below, where the circles can either be true or false as there is not enough information to conclude what name they have. Therefore, the answer is C. Let's look at an example question from the Opportunity Class Sample Thinking Skills test. It says, 3 balls, each of which is either red or yellow, lie in a straight line on a pool table. Aziz strikes the first ball, which is red. That ball hits the middle ball. The middle ball then hits the last ball, which is yellow. On the basis of this information, which one of the following statements must be true? A. Only one of the balls was red. B. A red ball hit a yellow ball. C. A yellow ball hit a red ball. And D. Only one of the balls was yellow. This question falls into the matching arguments category, as this question asks us to determine which of the following statements must be true given the information. This is a matching arguments question because we also need to use the arguments in the information to determine a true statement from the options. Let's use the general approach method to answer this question. The first step is to read the question and determine what it is asking. Since it is asking us, on the basis of this information, which one of the following statements must be true, we are looking for an answer option that correctly fits the logic within the given arguments, presenting no contradictions and inconsistencies. Note the use of the word must, meaning that the conclusion of the answer options must have definitive evidence to prove so. The next step is to read the argument and identify the premises. Premise 1 is 3 balls, each of which is either red or yellow. Premise 2 is Aziz strikes the first ball, which is red. Premise 3 is the ball hits the middle ball. And premise 4 is middle ball hits the last ball, which is yellow. Step 3 is to paraphrase the argument if you need to understand the argument better. In this case, it may be helpful to draw a diagram, which is drawn down below. The red ball will hit an unknown colored ball, which will hit a yellow ball. The fourth step is to predict the answer. Predicting the answer in this case is difficult. The best way to approach these kinds of questions would be to consider possible cases. And the final step is to eliminate wrong answers. We obtain 2 possible cases. Case 1 is when the middle ball is a red ball, and case 2 is when the middle ball is a yellow ball. Option A states that only one of the balls was red. Looking at the possible cases, this statement is incorrect because it is possible that there is more than one red ball in the group. Option B states that a red ball hit a yellow ball. Considering the second case, if the middle ball was yellow, then when the first ball hits the middle ball, it would be the same as saying the red ball hit a yellow ball. Therefore, this statement is consistent in both cases and therefore correct. Option C states that a yellow ball hit a red ball. Considering the 2 possible cases, this statement is not consistent with the information and therefore incorrect. It is only possible for a red ball to hit a yellow ball, not the other way around. Option D states that only one of the balls was yellow. Considering the 2 possible cases, we cannot say this for certain because it is possible for there to be 2 yellow balls within one group. So this statement is inconsistent with the information and thus incorrect. Therefore, our answer to this question is B. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully it has helped you understand a bit about thinking skills and the strategies on how to solve these questions. Please note, as stated in the start of the video, studying and reading consistently are essential for successful outcomes.